Yo, what's going on everyone? Miles Midoriya here with a quick review of Danmachi Season 4, Episode 9. Just to give a heads up, some of the words in here I may change around to the English one. I tried to pronounce it in Japanese and it just didn't sound right when I said it. So just in case you hear something different, that's why. The episode picks up where we left off last time, Belle trying to talk to Ryu. He asked her a question of if she was responsible for the situation that happened in Rivera, that there were witnesses also there seeing her flee the scene. She says she did no such thing. This dude Jura had the nerve to say, Belle, hurry up and do something. Belle told him he believes Ryu didn't do it and he's sticking with that. Then Belle proceeds to hit this man Jura with nothing but facts. He found some blaze rocks in the passageway where they found them. If you remember in the last episode, he did pick one up off the ground. That item, he said, is incredibly combustible. That explosion that happened in the passageway was actually his doing. On top of that, he was able to guess that those wounds are from a long time ago, back when Gale went and hunted him. In a few episodes back when they were running down that hallway, you could see Jura had no arm right there, so he was actually faking that injury. And that's when the switch flipped and Jura showed his true colors. After Belle and Ryu have a quick talk, they band together to stop Jura. He mentions that he's a monster tamer. I said, oh no, this can't be good. Which also explains why we got a hint and we seen that monster in the last episode and the one is yet to be seen. In the next scene, we see Fails walking in a room full of cage monsters and says that the Ikilos familiar weren't the only ones to use that place. There have been remnants of Evilus carrying some sort of experiment down there. We all know who that could be. We do see a cage that looks like it's been broken open, probably by one of the monsters. Fails can't believe that they were able to capture monsters from the deep floors, which means these monsters they're about to fight are powerful. We jump to Belle's friends, and what do you know, Turk's one of the bad guys. He says they're short on time, but what for? Then he mentions they might as well eliminate them all so they can put Jura's plan in motion. Turk has a whip just like Jura. When he slams it down, we see one of the snakes from the last episode that was briefly shown. Now pay attention to the thing that's around the snake's neck. We'll talk about that soon. The scene goes back to Belle and Ryu, and he remembers from the last episode the holes that him and the group seen, realizing that it's from the monster that's right in front of him. I apologize for mispronouncing this, but Ryu calls the snake monster Lambton, a gigantic monster that tunnels through the ground and can pass from floor to floor. It normally resides in the deep floors. He brought the monster from Gnosis. The scenes are changing back and forth, and we see Belle's friends, and they are currently running away from that monster. This monster really does move around. Aisha knew it was digging, but she was wondering where it was going to pop up from, and it was underneath them, which is why she pushed everyone forward. So they really got to be on their toes and keep moving. While all this is happening, Cassandra starts to think. She thought being on this floor meant everyone could safely avoid disaster and if she made a mistake somewhere. So she's starting to rethink some of the stuff that she saw before, but once again, wait on that, we'll get back to it soon. As they're running, Aisha dislikes that she was not able to pull through for Belle after he specifically asked her to. I'm not mad at it, and I don't think he would either. They all had to get out of there, and it's not like they knew he had that monster either. When we seen Belle running from this monster and it was using his tail to try to hit Belle, this thing's pretty fast, and then when it turned into the drill and went underground, I was like, yo, this is pretty wild. Ryu did try to attack Jura, but was unlucky as the snake popped up from the side, hit her, and sent her all the way back to Belle. Now, a question we all kind of been wondering, Belle says to Ryu, is this guy just a really high-level tamer or what? He's manipulating a monster from the deep floors like it's nothing. Ryu replied, Jura's never been that strong. After hearing her say that, yeah, something's going on. Of course, Jura interjects saying that they are having a hard time understanding why the monster listens to him. Now remember that thing that's around the snake's neck? Well, Jura has a magic item that can enslave monsters. Apparently the guys in Gnosis managed to create that forbidden item. With its power, any monster can be controlled. He mentions that she annoys him, that his hand is badly trembling. It's from the trauma Gale went inflicted on him when she went on a rampage, eliminating his familiar. He can't get that sight out of his head, which is why he's going to have the monster get rid of her instead of him. Kind of mentioning that he's feeling the same way she is to an extent, but you all cause this by setting a trap for her familiar. Back to the group, Aisha is starting to plan stuff out to fight the monster. She tells Haruhime to only level boost 2 people, as having her collapse from being exhausted would hurt them in the long run. I can understand that, because if they're on the run again, they would have to carry her, or if they get in a fight, somebody's going to have to be around her to watch out for her. Jumping to Belle and Ryu, she brings up that she has figured out the pattern how the monster moves in response to his orders. She says that they could destroy the necklace, but freeing it from his power might make things worse if it goes on a rampage. That is true. This thing is already doing something while it's being controlled. Imagine it not being controlled and wilding out. They as well come up with the plan. Ryu tells Belle that she'll get rid of it, and for him to cover her, he'll have to use his magic when the monster tries to go underground so that he can stop it. All of a sudden, Jura just felt like he had to talk about everything today. He calls Belle's name, telling him that he knew she wouldn't stop until she caught him, which is why he used Turk to deal with her. He told him to turn those people in Rivera against her so that she'd have a hard time keeping up, He went on to say that he could bet Jin was eliminated to spur them into forming an execution squad that would hunt her down. Bell said Jin was on your side, wasn't he? Jura said he was one of his buds, but so were the other people that got burned in the explosion. So all those people we seen in that passageway was because of him. That's just ridiculous. Like, this dude just doesn't care about anyone around him. You can just see the expression of Bell starting to get mad. Ryu tells him don't listen to the word he says, stay focused on the task at hand. You can't let him get to you, Bell. They begin fighting. Bell takes a few swipes at the monster. Ryu starts to chant. You could tell she is focused and been doing this for a while because she is doing a long chant while fighting this thing. No mess ups. Bell uses Firebolt. As soon as it tries to go underground, he stops it and Ryu uses her attack. The attack has a snake hit against the wall, causing the rock to fall down and it being defeated. It transitions to the group fighting the monster, and you can tell they've been wearing it down with the amount of arrows on the side of it. The monster charges, they block it with the shield, and the last arrow is being shot, and Aisha delivers the final blow. You think everyone would be happy it got defeated, but Cassandra knows that wasn't it. She said that was the great disaster? It couldn't be. There's not enough fear, not enough despair. It was easily defeated. To be the embodiment of ruin, it was wrong, and that wasn't a disaster. So she knows that wasn't it. Something else is coming, and that was far from it. The scene goes to Bell and Ryu, and they're in front of Jura, and Jura says this is just the beginning. He was the distraction. We then get to see what Turk and the others were doing. They were actually setting up the blaze rocks, and once that explosion went off, those in that area started to feel the after effects of that explosion. Jura says the area where the Great Falls is can be perceived as a singular floor. Everything gets shared, including the damage it takes. That's what the dungeon will think, making it delirious. So this dude really had everything down packed and planned out. After Ryu started getting mad at Jura, the monster eventually made a sound. Her expression and emotion just changed. She says it's exactly the same. That thing is coming. We could all figure it out by now what it is. It's probably the same monster that they trapped her familiar with. She tells Bell to run away. The scene goes to Cassandra dropping down to the ground saying that a great disaster cometh, banquet of tragedy. From the past episodes up until now, this is what she's been talking about. I don't know what this thing is, but it's obviously dangerous by the way Ryu looked and Cassandra's acting. Then all of a sudden, all we see is the glowing eyes of the monster. Man, I thought they was going to show it in this episode, then end it, but nah. They just showed it right there, so we all have to wait until next week to see what they're going to be fighting. Overall, it was a wild, good episode. Bell figured out some of the things. Each one was able to handle the monsters. They weren't able to prevent Turk and his group, but they couldn't help it. This dude, Jura, really had everything planned out or at least put together throughout those years. So now Bell and Ryu have to figure out how to face what's to come. Comment below, what did you think about this episode? And what do you think is going to happen in the next one? Thank you all for watching this video. Here's some more reviews, and I'll see you in the next video.